James II became King of England in 1685 when his brother, Charles II, died. To James's relief, his accession was relatively uneventful, with no immediate public or parliamentary opposition despite widespread awareness of his Catholic faith. This initial acceptance reflected a strong desire for political stability after the tensions of the Exclusion Crisis of 1679 to 1681, during which some politicians had attempted to prevent James from inheriting the throne because of fears that he as a Catholic would threaten England's Protestant settlement. Many political elites ultimately accepted the principle of hereditary succession over the uncertainty that excluding James might create. However, concerns surrounding James' perceived Catholicism remained close beneath the surface and quickly started again during the early months of his reign. Although James initially promised to preserve the Church of England and govern according to the laws of the kingdom, many Protestants remained suspicious that he would favour Catholics. As a result, two rebellions emerged to try and dethrone James. Firstly came Argyll's rebellion, which sought to mobilise Presbyterians, including Scottish Highland clans, against James. However, the rebellion was not as large as Argyll had hoped, and it struggled to coordinate with another rebellion that was being led by James Scott, the king's nephew and Duke of Monmouth, in what became known as Monmouth's Rebellion. The government reacted quickly to this, with local militias disrupting Argyll's progress and momentum. The rebellion collapsed, Argyll was captured, and he was executed in June 1685. Monmouth's rebellion was larger, however, and it took in farmers and craftsmen as well as Protestant dissenters. Monmouth was considered approachable as a leader, while poor harvests and rising rents bolstered anger at a government many were suspicious of for religious reasons and because of a fear of authoritarianism. The rebels, however, lacked the discipline, training, and weapons to cause any major problems for James's government. The hope from the rebels was that they could take Bristol. Doing so would mean access to money and better weapons. Yet James's troops arrived in the city earlier than Monmouth expected, and thus he failed to take Bristol. The death knell for the rebels came on July 6, 1685, when they lost the Battle of Sedgemoor. Monmouth planned to take James's troops by surprise with an attack at night, but the rebels got lost in the dark and alerted the royal army, who proceeded to wake up and crush them. Monmouth was then arrested. James's response to the rebellion's ending was brutal. He publicly hanged a number of rebels and imprisoned many more in what became known as the Bloody Assizes. While it justified James's expansion of the army in the short term, it sowed the seeds of further rebellion against the king that would flare up in the coming years. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing to Tales from History. It really helps me out.